I'd like to call this meeting of the Festus City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer.
Here.
Councilman Underwood. Here. Councilwoman Templeton. Here. Councilman Weiner. Here. Councilman Dennis.
Here.
Councilman Benz. Councilman Cook. Councilman Tenen.
Here. We do have a quorum. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Tonight, we have a total bills of $76,665.96.
So moved.
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Councilman Underwood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton.
Yes.
Councilman Weiner.
Yes.
Councilman Dennis.
Yes.
Councilman Benz.
Yes.
Councilman Tenen.
Yes. Motion does pass. Remarks of visitors.
Sir, we have two people on the agenda tonight. The first one is Wendy Wright with Helping Those in Need. Wendy?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for letting me speak tonight. My name is Wendy Wright, and I am requesting permission to use the library parking lot in Festus one Saturday a month in the upper corner to do a free handout of items to anybody that needs it. It's community supported, 100% donated. It varies depending on the month of the year, but in the wintertime, we focus on coats. At Christmas time, we do gifts for the children. At time to go back to school, we do packing, like items to pack the backpacks for kids. All throughout the year, we have clothes, shoes, personal care items, Bibles. What was I going to say? Personal care items, school supplies, winter coats, things along that nature. They're free to anybody that comes. I've been doing helping those in need handouts since 2018 with a primary focus of Festus, Missouri since December of 2019. And every month been going down. 2 months ago, moved over to Festus Library parking lot. I did call the library and the police department. I did not know that I needed permission from this board to do that. So I apologize that I didn't seek your permission first. So I'm here today to find out if it's okay to do this and continue to do it.
Is there any discussion?
Wendy, do you have a collection point anywhere in the Festus area or Crystal area?
Actually, I collect our people that participate in this collect for me, depending on where it's located, but it's collection all throughout the month. And then after each handout, whatever comes in that month, I donate out. If somebody doesn't need it, I donate it out to other businesses and ministries throughout Jefferson County. I support a safe place for the domestic violence victims. I've done multiple donations to DeSoto Baby Ministry, Twin City Treasures that help the Vietnam vets and the homeless, as well as the Secondhand Heroes and Helping Hand-Me-Downs. I think they just recently went out of business with the virus, but multiple different areas, just depending on what it is that we have left over, if it's children's or adults.
Thank you.
Greg, what's our legal status on letting people use city property?
Well, and Brian can back me up on this. Obviously, a request has to come to city council. Also requires, if we're under some form of emergency order, a safety plan, which we've been taking here recently because of the COVID-19 status. But it does require basically permission from council to use, whether it's a street closure, as we'll be listening to Andy Held here in a little bit for the Bottleneck Bridge Ride, or to be able to use, in this case, the library parking lot. Brian, anything I might have missed there?
No, not really. Just the board passed this ordinance back in October, and it basically says a permit shall be issued if it finds that the activity will not interfere or detract from the promotion of public health, welfare, and safety, is not reasonably anticipated to incite violence or disorderly conduct or create unusual burdens on the police department, and the lot hasn't been reserved for some other purpose for that particular day. And as Greg noted, when there is a public health emergency, the city can require the applicant to submit a safety plan to ensure that adequate public health measures are taken to ensure that the gathering will be conducted safely.
I might suggest that we take this into consideration and make a decision and get back with Ms. Wright in a good period of time.
I think we can put it on the first meeting agenda in May, if you like, under new or old business.
Okay, that's what I'd like. All those in favor of that approach, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none. Ms. Wright, we will be getting back with you, and we will put this on our agenda under new or old business on our first meeting in May.
Is this a meeting that I will attend?
You can, yes.
If it's virtual, it would be via Zoom. If not, it'd be in person. I'll be in contact with you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Andrew Held.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you all today. I'm joined together with my partner, Matt Hartman from TrailNet, and I am with the Jefferson County Growth Association. And I wanted to reach out and touch and talk to the council today about the 2021 Bottleneck Bridge Ride. It's an event that we hold from the JCGA and partner with TrailNet. Now this will be the 6th year, and to promote tourism for the city of Festus and also the county. Just kind of a recap of the event. It starts off in Festus, Main and Mill Brewing Company and Main Street, and then heads through pretty much most of the county on bike. And we have rest stops at various locations about every 10, 12 miles. But it heads to the wineries in big loops. We have a 34, a 42, and a 67-mile loop that convene back at Main and Mill, and brings a lot of people down here into Festus. And my request to the council tonight is to hold the event. And in the years past, we have been able to close down 2nd Street behind Main Street, which has been a great asset to us. And this year we were wanting to step the event up a notch. We try to do one thing each year that kind of gives a different view of the event and kind of make it a little bit better each year. And we wanted to close Main Street for the duration of the event this year. It's on Sunday, August 15th is when it's tentatively planned for. And closure would be from probably 4 a.m. to 4:35 p.m. when the last cyclist came through. And I've already had the opportunity to speak briefly to Chief Lewis and Greg with kind of an overview plan that TrailNet and I have worked on, what that look like, and just wanted to present that to you. I believe you all have received in the packet a kind of an aerial view of what the closures might look like and the event for that day. So just wanted to see about getting approval for that closure for that day event.
All righty, thank you, sir. Any questions? We will discuss this and put it on our the first council meeting in May. Put it on the agenda, and we will be back in contact with you, Mr. Held. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yes. All righty. We'll move right along to bids. West Main Water Main Project.
Yes, in your packet, you'll see a report from our water foreman, Chuck Boyer. Bids were solicited. We received 4. The bid from Consolidated Pipe was the low bid, but they did not bid all the materials in the material list provided, so it was incomplete. The recommendation here is for this to come out of our water distribution, other capital outlay. This is a capital budget item that was accommodated for $29,123.50.
Any questions? I will entertain a bid or entertain a motion to accept the bid from Schultz Supply for $29,123.50 for the West Main Water Main Project.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Tenen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood, Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Motion passes. We will accept that bid and get started on that project.
Mayor, I apologize. I did have a letter under correspondence to read.
Okay. We do have a letter for under correspondence to read. The city clerk would go ahead.
To Mayor Sam Richards, members of the City Council, Greg Camp, City Administrator, and Stephanie Cunningham, Finance Director. After much discussion during our recent March meeting, we as a board voted to draft this letter to express our concern regarding the personnel in our Parks Department. We believe that the parks are a vital and necessary part of our city and should be properly maintained and cared for daily. They promote health, provide social opportunities for our residents, and help bring non-residents into our own town for events. We truly believe that the condition and appearance of the parks reflects us as a city. With that in mind, we feel as a board that the current staffing level of the Parks Department does not provide sufficient labor that sustains the high expectations that we have all come to expect. The Parks Department currently contains a parks foreman and 3 full-time employees, but they are tasked with maintaining over 250 acres of park ground, including but not limited to preparing sports fields and courts, pavilions and playground equipment, landscaping, tree work, preparing for events and festivals, general repairs, and countless other tasks. In the next 18 weeks, the Parks Department will have 13 tournaments, the Firecracker Festival, 4 major holidays for pavilion rentals, as well as 4 regular events, 30 Dozen, Swing Under the Stars, Mayor's Summer Cruise, and the Blues and Funk Festival, and the ball fields are rented out into October. We are asking you to review the upcoming budget for 2021-2022 to consider increasing manpower to the Parks Department in the form of 2 additional full-time employees and 1 or 2 more summer help. This increase in labor should help to boost productivity and enable the implementation of new parks, ideals, and projects that will enhance our parks for the enjoyment of all. Thank you for your consideration in what we feel is an urgent and critical matter. The Festus Park Board, Tim Wade, President, Ray Earls, Jeff Bannock, Charlie Casey, Vice President, John Richardson, Charles Underwood, Bob Swires, Jeff Myers, and Dave Davis.
Thank you. We certainly will keep these things under consideration and look into it and see what we can do in the next fiscal year. Street striping
and Kreitz Park striping bids.
Yes, sir. We have two quotes that we received for our annual road striping. It's also been requested that we update the stripe around the loop in Kreitz Park. We did receive two bids. The low bid by all of $7.45 is from American Parking and Remarking. They have been also our striper that we've used in many years in the past. This is covered by the city T-tax and the money is in the budget.
All righty. Any discussion? I will entertain a motion to approve the bid of $5,092.55 from American Parking for the striping of the road and Kreitz Park striping.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Tenen.
Yes.
Councilman Benz.
Yes.
Councilman Dennis.
Yes.
Councilman Weiner.
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton.
Yes.
Councilman Underwood. Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
The motion has been passed. Now we can get some striping done. Ordinances and resolutions. Our first ordinance tonight is Bill 4628 on the agenda. Would the clerk please read the bill?
Bill number 4628, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, amending the 2020-2021 fiscal year budget and establishing an effective date.
Staff report.
Good evening, everybody. So you should have received all of the ordinance and all of the backup for the changes for the new budget. And the majority of them are things that you approved throughout the last 6 months. So different things that might have been over budget, along with just things like health insurance that were slightly over what we thought that they would be. So there's adjustments in there for those types of things. That's mainly it. Do you guys have any specific questions on it? Because I have this stack of information to back it all up. So if you have any questions, okay.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4628 for the second time in title only? Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, would you please read Bill 4628 for the second time?
Bill number 4628, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, amending the 2020-2021 fiscal year budget and establishing an effective date. Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Councilman Underwood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton.
Yes.
Councilman Weiner.
Yes.
Councilman Dennis.
Yes.
Councilman Tenen.
Yes.
Councilman Benz.
Yes.
Motion carries. We'll amend the budget. We have Bill 4629 on the agenda. Would the clerk please read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 4629, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute a contract with America's Parking Remarking for road striping and Kreitz Park striping, incorporating said contract as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Could I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4629 for the second time?
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please read Bill 4629 for the second time?
Bill number 4629, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute a contract with America's Parking Remarking for road striping and Kreitz Park striping, incorporating said contract as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date. Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Councilman Underwood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton.
Yes.
Councilman Weiner.
Yes.
Councilman Tennis.
Yes.
Councilman Benz.
Yes.
Councilman Tenon.
Yes.
Motion passes. Bill 4629 has passed. We also have Bill 4630 on the agenda. Would the clerk please read that bill for the first time?
Bill number 4630, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute a contract with Cochran to update the city's preventative pavement maintenance program, incorporating said contract as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date.
Staff report.
Sir, we have Dave Christensen with Cochran Engineering on the call with us today. This is updating the 10-year plan, which we've pretty much blown through, and allows us now to, one, get it updated, two, give us a much larger time frame, and I think a larger scope and some other things as well. Dave, would you like to explain?
Yeah, last time we did this was in 2010, so it's been over 10 years. And as far as I know, I think you guys are pretty well stuck to the plan. And Matt had contacted me, and I think, Greg, you and I talked about this a little bit. It does make sense now to reevaluate the entire city. It's not starting over, but it is kind of starting over, taking a fresh look at everything, seeing if we want to do things differently, and seeing what makes sense now going forward. So I think you guys did great keeping up with it for 10 years, and sounds like it's time to, like Greg said, take another look at it and reorganize things. I don't know, based upon what you guys have to spend every year for preventive pavement maintenance. And again, this is preventive pavement maintenance, which is really good because you've kept up with a lot of your roads. They're looking good. We'll look at the roads that are eligible for federal funding as well. So makes sense that it's time to do it. Does anybody have any questions for me?
How many roads you looking at that have you seen in Festus that are qualified?
Well, that are qualified for federal funds?
Yes.
I'm looking at a map right now. I could count them. There's like Main Street, South Mill, Sunshine, Central, North 5th, North 6th, North 9th, American Legion, YMCA, Collins. You guys have done work over the past 15 years on most of those roads with federal funds.
Kevin and I have been with us a long time, so we've seen this start back then, and it's been a great thing since we've been doing this. And I didn't know how many more roads we had left every time we've seen like we've been doing them.
Yeah, like for example, this year you guys applied for North Mill Street, resurfacing North Mill Street, and we did that. Oh, that was I don't know. I want to say I think is that 12 years old, 14 years old. So it's time to use federal funds to repave roads again on and those are just your major arterial roadways. And this plan is going to look at all of your city streets, not just those. So it takes into account everything.
Well, like I said, I know it's been a great thing ever since it was started back then. So it's really improved the city roads.
Yeah, and just one thing to talk about too. When I, what's nice about this is that I don't really care where the wards are. We're looking at what the pavements look like and what they need to be done. Where other cities and other places, they try to spread out the work and do some here and do some there. And you guys are doing more of a cost-effective way of what makes sense citywide. So by doing that, it works real well.
And just, Bobby, one thing to throw in here, as Dave mentioned, we're taking in the entirety of all the streets. Obviously, some streets hold up better than others do.
Oh, yeah.
So I think hitting the reset button and coming back and not just updating the plan, but reevaluating the entirety of it. It allows us to prioritize streets that maybe need a little more attention. Fifth Street's one of our ones, the Hillsborough Road between Mill and down past the Trestle. So it gives us an opportunity to look at these streets that maybe haven't held up as well, and get them reprioritized so that we have a good plan moving forward. And the other thing I wanted to mention, Dave, that really appealed to us is it gives us an interactive document that we can put on our website that residents can go to, and they can see when the streets are programmed, when they're set to go. So a lot of questions that you get about, my street needs to be resurfaced, when's it going to happen? They can go straight to the map. We can be able to tell them, we can show them exactly where we are in our plan.
Yeah, I know we spread it around as best we could ever since we started this. And so it like I said, it's been a very good, I think, for the city. And ever since it was brought to us 10 years ago or better. I'm glad that did happen. Like I said, the city's benefit real well from it.
And I think that's why we should continue this plan, because it has worked so well for us. So is there any other discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4630 for the second time in title only?
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, would you please read the bill for the second time?
Bill number 4630, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute a contract with Cochran to update the city's preventative pavement maintenance program, incorporating said contract as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date. Councilman Dennis.
Yes.
Councilman Tenen.
Yes.
Councilman Benz.
Yes.
Councilman Weiner.
Yes.
Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Councilman Underwood.
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton.
Yes.
Motion carries. Bill 4630 has passed. We also have Bill 4631 on the agenda for this evening. Would the clerk please read that bill for the first time?
Bill number 4631, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute an intergovernmental cooperation agreement with the Jefferson County Water Authority, incorporating said agreement as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date.
Bill 4631 is open for discussion. Could I have the staff report, please?
This is something that Matt Unrein brought to the Water Authority, and the Water Authority thought it was a very good idea, but it does require the cooperation from the City of Festus as well. In the event that the Water Authority has a situation where the normal maintenance or mechanic that they would use on their equipment isn't available, this cooperative agreement would allow our mechanic to be able to address any concerns they would have as far as any of their light equipment, any of their automobiles or trucks. So essentially being able to assist the Water Authority in the event that they would ever need it.
Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, Madam Clerk, would you please read Bill? I'm sorry. I need a motion. I need a motion to read Bill, to suspend the rules and read Bill 4631 for the second time in title only.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. And I have only been doing this for 2 years, so, but still get a little slack. Go ahead.
Bill number 4631, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute an intergovernmental cooperation agreement with the Jefferson County Water Authority, incorporating said agreement as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date. Councilman Weiner.
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton.
Yes.
Councilman Underwood,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Vins,
Yes.
Councilman Tinnen.
Yes.
Bill 4631 is passed. Next, we have Bill 4632 on the agenda. Would the clerk please read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 4632, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, amending the zoning map of said city as established by the planning and zoning ordinances of the City of Festus, Missouri, and establishing an effective date.
Bill 4632 is now open for discussion. Could I have the staff report, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor and Councilman and women. This is for 1241 American Legion. Stick Lines have made a request to rezone this. It's currently zoned B2, community retail. They would like to go with the I1 industrial use. The lot, I indicate on the map, the lot is just north of Quick Chips, very south end of the city, just off the highway.
Everyone, we do have Dale Steckline on the call with us here, the petitioner for the rezoning, and he'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Also included in your packets, some information that Mr. Steckline forwarded to us, which I can share on the screen if you like, so everyone can see it. Let me make sure I can get this to work.
Greg, is this something where I could speak through the slides real quick?
Dale, if you'd like to go ahead and speak at this time, that'd be great.
Okay, perfect. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, thanks everyone. Good evening. Here with me is my wife, Laura Steckline. We're requesting, as you just heard, to rezone this property from B2 to I1 so we can build a Class A self-storage climate controlled facility. And if you can go to the first slide, if you would. Okay, so this is just a property outline. If you can see on the kind of top right, that's a little slice of American Legion Drive. I call it kind of a pan-shaped property. You can see the long panhandle coming in, and then the bulk of the property sits in the rear. Highway 67 is just to the south, and you can see between us there is the gas station, and it runs kind of along 67 towards the back there. You can see there's like two tree lines there and some trailers and stuff. So if you can go to the second. So this is kind of the same view, just zoomed out quite a bit. Right there in the middle is the gas station again, and the property we're looking at. And straight across to the right is the nursery. If I go clockwise around, there's the commuter lot, and of course St. Pius behind there where I went to high school at. Breckenridge concrete is just up from it. If you go further south there at the bottom, you can see Sturdike Motorsports, and if you come back around, it's the gas station, then the property we're looking at. And then I think Kyle and Jessica Scott live just to the north of it, and then back around goes to the nursery. If you can go to the next one. So this picture I kind of stole from Google and put up here. So this is just a view from the American Legion Drive, kind of looking straight down that panhandle. You can see the fence along the side that separates the gas station. I pulled this one up, and I'll reference it again here in a minute because we had a rendering of the self-storage facility like to put here. So this is kind of a before, and we'll show you an after picture here in just a second. Next one. And this just kind of same picture. I just tried to get one from the intersection there where 61, 67 split. Kind of hard to see the property. You kind of see it behind the gas pumps there. You can see the house, and along back, the two tree lines kind of cover it, but it's basically there behind the convenience store and the fireworks stand. Okay, next one. So this is one that my wife Laura and I, this is our storage facility that we built, owned, and operated in Dardine Prairie, Missouri. Dardine Prairie is kind of not familiar between Lake St. Louis and O'Fallon. I call this a Class A facility. You can see the stone on the front, stucco on the top, landscaping out in front of the office. Grass is green, pretty weed free, and a nice wide driveway going down to the back of the property. We did this with the very intentionally to have a very nice looking, clean, very professional Class A self-storage facility. And to the left of this, oddly enough, was a nursery, and to the right of it was a retail strip where there was a dentist office, embroidery, and I think a real estate office and so forth. Yeah. You go to the next one. So if you haven't been in a climate controlled facility, this is a picture of what ours look like from the inside. I just want to give you some idea of when you store your goods at our facility, this is what you would see from the inside. Okay, and then two more slides. This one is the, you kind of see that same pan-shaped property. This is my sketch. I just drew an outline of it. If you start up where it says A there at American Legion Drive, you would drive in, you'd see an O for office building right there with some parking spaces. You'd have a keypad gate to get into the facility. You can see building 1 and 2, a couple buildings there along the kind of long panhandle to get to the rear, where the bulk of the self-storage would be, and building 3 and 4 at the back. And this is the last slide. So I mentioned the kind of before picture. We tried to get about the same angle, but as you see this, it probably looks pretty familiar to the slide just a couple slides ago. We tried to model this one after what we built in Dardine Prairie, and kind of same idea with on the office there, stone and stucco. We have landscaping there in the front, nice wide driveway, keypad access in, where you then drive down the panhandle to the rear of the property where the bulk of the storage is at. And you see on the left there is kind of that same fence that exists today separating the gas station. So I guess just to wrap up, we're requesting it to be rezoned to I-1 because that's where the indoor self-storage is allowed. And we feel like this specific location is a good spot for self-storage. Just, not just the surrounding location, be next to the, 67 and the gas station and so forth. But also we'd make it a very much a Class A, very professional, nice facility. Something we think that the residents of Festus and surrounding areas would want, and also something that the city of business that the city of Festus could be proud of. So if you have any questions at all, we're happy to try and answer.
Do we have any? Go ahead.
My question is I think it's a first-rate facility. You're wonderful people, but when we change the zoning, we leave the city open to so many things that could be undesirable, that bucks up to residential, that would buck up to you. Somebody decide they're going to put a junkyard in or something of that nature. That's my concern. I think you're great people. There's no doubt you run a wonderful business. You're well thought out. That's what scares me. And I just want it out there. I've studied it. That's my biggest concern.
And I guess the best way to answer that is, my father's been in the business for 25 years. We're in the business. My wife and I are, like I said, it's my hometown. I grew up there. I'm not going to come here. We're not going to come here and present one thing and then do another.
No. And I didn't mean it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys are very first-class people, and I think our job is to try to get worthy projects online. That's my stuck point there, because it changes, the whole area. Because I was here when we changed it. I didn't vote for it last time we did it. That's a different story because it was residential and there was other issues. But, that leaves us open to a lot of undesirable things other than your project, which I think is worthy, well thought out, well run. You're good people. So that's where I'm coming from. Had read everything that was presented to us. So maybe Brian can throw something in here to help us.
So did you have a question for me?
I guess my question is, other than just changing the entire zoning, is there any other way of doing this to letting the project go forward without putting us in a position where next thing we know, we have a bunch of things that maybe we don't want there as part of our city plan and trying to move forward?
So if you change the zoning to the industrial use, I think there does carry that risk that, later on there could be another use that's permitted in that district that would be a permitted use at this property should this project either not move forward or if down the road a different proposal comes in for this land. So I don't really know, other than I don't know if the petitioner is able to give the council any indication of when he would expect to break ground on his facility, because obviously if you're building a structure on there, that sort of suggests some permanence and then a subsequent use is either going to have to make use of that facility or tear the whole thing down, which obviously legally doesn't mean it can't ever be changed, but it does. And so I don't know, maybe the petitioner could tell the council when he would anticipate breaking ground. That may answer some questions that the council members may have.
So we would plan on getting our stuff going into break ground as soon as we could, is what I would say. As soon as we get all of our plan put together, the general contracting put together, we would plan on building it immediately as soon as we can. Hopefully for it to be ready next year, possibly. So we would be working on it immediately.
Depends on how long the process takes for building plans and so forth, but I'd expect we'd be open, in the spring, a year from now.
And once it's there, it's, I don't know if there's any risk after that once it's all there and it stays maintained and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't necessarily see the risk with you folks, but anyone in the future that would come in on the additional properties there. Plus, the other question is, there's a church right up the street too. So would that play anything into rezoning that area with the church being there? And so I think it's a worthy project. I just have that concern if we rezone that area, what risks we taking as a city of something other than the project you're presenting. Someone comes in between you and the church and buys those homes and decides they're going to put a lumber mill in or a junkyard or something that would hurt everybody, hurt your property and everybody else. And it bucks up against residential towards the back over on England. So
the property directly behind it, the residential in England, we're buying that property also, the mobile home with the 1 acre, and considering making that considering building there in the future for
our home. Yeah.
I have a question.
Councilwoman Templeton has a question.
The residential that's right next to the property with the pool, what is you have a fence by the gas station. What will be on that side? Will that also be fencing next to that residential?
Yeah, so I was looking through the city code. I think two things. One is the way we have it laid out, especially along the panhandle there. It would be the back of those buildings that would, just see basically the back of a building along there. I thought I also saw in the code that we required to put evergreen type trees along there. So It'd be the back of the building or like screening type trees along there.
Okay. And my other question would be, does the police department have any concerns about adding this type of facility? And it's not going to be like boat and trailer storage. It's strictly contained enclosed storage.
That's exactly right. And in fact, in I-1, there's many things are separately conditional use, and we could not put outside storage there without coming back through for conditional use. It's part of that section B conditional use. But we have no plans to anywhere. It's a different business model in my mind. The RV storage from storage that people do for residential purposes, moving and so forth.
Councilman Underwood.
When you have the other groups that are coming in and demolition for trucks and things like that.
I can't hear.
They come through, do they have to come through the back through the council again to get the permission to do that?
The question is whether or not they need council permission for the demolition?
Yes.
No, for the house that's there now?
Yeah.
No, they would not. They would just pull a demo permit from building and planning and then submit their site plan, their architectural, all that sort to building and planning. That would all go directly to Mark and his department if the rezoning is granted. Well, there wouldn't be any additional review by P&Z or the city council.
Is there any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor, could we request only one reading on this tonight? So we could have just a hair more time to do a little more research at some things that come to light tonight?
Yes, that you could request that. All we have to do is
If you table it,
is there any apparently you want to table this matter and have the bill carried over to the next meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
he would need to make a motion that would be seconded and voted on.
Would you make a motion to that effect?
I make a motion, we table this to the next meeting to get a little more information to try to make this work for all.
Do I have a second for that motion? I have a second. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner, Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Venz,
Yes.
Councilman Tenen.
Motion passes. Bill 4632 will be carried over to our next meeting, which will be the first meeting in May.
Dale will send out any information regarding that meeting, if it's virtual or in person, so that you would be able to attend.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you all.
All righty.
Thanks, guys.
We have Bill 4633 on the agenda. Would the clerk read this bill for the first time?
Bill number 4633, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri to decertify Laborers International Union of North America and Laborers Local 42 as the exclusive bargaining representative of the city's police officers and dispatchers, and recognizing the expiration of the memorandum of understanding with the union and establishing an effective date.
Could I have a staff report, Greg, please?
Certainly. Ladies and gentlemen, the bargaining unit for Local 42, our officers, which are sergeants, corporals, patrolmen, and the dispatchers, have presented petitions to the city for the decertification of Local 42. After consulting with our city attorney, Brian, who's on the call and happy to answer any questions, the process that we would like to follow, which is outlined in our ordinances, would be the appointment of 3 councilmen or councilwoman to verify the signatures on the petitions, and then to report back at the next meeting that they are valid, and that this ordinance would then be read for a second time and a final vote. At this point, we're just asking for a first reading of this ordinance.
Thank you, sir. I would like to have 3 volunteers that would review the signatures on the petition. And I'd point out that the 3 of you do not necessarily have to meet at the same time. You could come in and review the signatures on your separate times to approve those signatures. And then once the 3 are done, then we will have this bill read for the second time on our first meeting in May.
I'd be happy to do that.
Okay. Councilman Weiner, Councilwoman Templeton, almost,
Go ahead, do it.
and Councilman Vins. So Bill 4633 will be tabled till our next meeting. I believe that's all the ordinances we have for this evening. New business,
We have none, sir.
old business.
Just for informational purposes, I put in your packet, it's on the screen. We identified as we have gone through the process of becoming more agile from a technology standpoint, as all of you gaze at your tablets. Some of the deficiencies in the backbone of the IT that we have here with the city, specifically things like workstations and tablets, not tablets, I should say the server, have really shown through. We submitted, after an evaluation by our IT people, we submitted a reimbursement request for the additional CARES funding to cover 100% of the cost of these items. They're on the spreadsheet on the second page. In addition to 2 additional work crew trucks for the Parks Department, for crew separation. All of these items were approved on the 12th of April by the Jefferson County Council. Just wanted to make you up to date on our CARES Act funding. If you recall in a previous report, I stated that the amount of CARES Act funding now that the city has received is close to about $800,000 to cover mostly things like vehicles but for the most part, equipment like computer equipment, the mobile data terminals that we put in the police cars and things of that sort. Happy to answer any questions related to that.
So this does cover the police communication side of.
That was in the previous request, the larger one that we sent in back in October. The mobile data terminals were covered in that reimbursement, which we have already received.
And as far as,
And most of them have almost all been installed, if not completely.
okay, so this pretty well covers the infrastructure of the network for every department in the city. We haven't left anybody behind.
We have not left anyone behind.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions or discussion? If not, Councilman Tenen, do you have anything for this evening?
I don't have anything at this time, sir.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Dennis?
Yeah, I have a couple things. One for the chief. I see we have our speed control over on Sunshine. Is that a permanent spot, or is that going to move around? And did we not approve 2 of those or just 1?
Kevin, I'll jump in here. We were so happy that we got it that we wanted to show it off. And we thought we'd try to slow people down on Sunshine while we were at it. There is another one. If you recall, that was a key piece of equipment with our traffic calming. We have not received any requests from any neighborhoods or residents at this point for traffic calming. So We thought it would be nice to deploy the sign though in a highly visible area.
Well, I continue, as well as Bobby, to get requests for Horine.
Big time.
I seen two people racing down it the other day, and I'm afraid they're going to run over me when I'm over at my dad. So maybe we can work on that particular area. And Central has become a hot spot. I've had several phone calls about that. But I know we continue, as I talked to Bobby the other day, getting, I don't know why, from the curb to the church is so appealing for people. But I know there's been numerous accidents there. I know there's been quite a few problems, and we continue to get requests to try to slow that down in that area. So if we could work on that. Another thing that comes to mind is Alexander Heights, trying to get some kind of plan up there for their streets. I know it's cement, and I've talked to Greg about it. It's a huge task, and I kind of know the answer. We're either going to have to probably end up using some blacktop up there, but I kind of wanted to bring that, to the front too. So,
Kevin, just to throw in there for a second, and probably just because of the speed with which we went over the preventative maintenance plan that council approved this evening takes in all of the city roads. And that was something very important to me, because I think all of you have expressed to me how important it is that we need to come up with a solution on our concrete streets, whether or not it's panel replacement or whether or not it's some of the newer innovative overlays that are available now. So that will be part of this. Those concrete streets were exempted from the 10-year plan, but will be part of the new plan that we authorized tonight.
That's great. And my other question is, are we understaffed at the park as far as we normally have 5 and we only have 3, or this is an additional request?
We have one out on medical leave. And that would, so we have staffing for 4 full-time all the time. And then we have our 29-week person, and that person has not been hired. Last year, Ken, who did it for us all the time, would come back every season, took a job someplace else. So we're having to hire a completely new 29-week person. We've decided, because of the time schedule and the amount of stuff that the parks have cooking, and with Josh wanting in there, getting in there, really wanting to go, that we split those into 2, basically 15-week positions. So he will have an extra set of hands. But I think it's pretty clear that come next fiscal year that council should take a look at some additional personnel in the Parks Department. That's something we can talk about.
Yeah. Do we ever consider like loaning someone from another department to help out if they're in a bind out there? Because of everything being so shut down, and Josh had worked 2 positions and everything else, he comes in behind. Could we possibly loan some of these young men in the afternoon?
We have summer help coming up. Yeah, we have summer help coming up if we can find people. And that's a larger issue that, we can talk about how a lot of businesses are dealing with difficulty finding staff. But we do have our summer help coming up.
What I'm talking about is our current staffing from, say, the street department. If in the afternoon they've had their project done, could possibly help out with some projects in the park if we're behind a little bit.
I'll say one word to that: potholes.
Yeah.
Street department's busy. So being able to break someone away right now, everybody's busy. And that's the difficult part we have right now with water main projects, sewer main projects, with street maintenance projects. Now, when they've needed heavy equipment, the guys in the street or water sewer department have been more than willing to come over and help out, which they've done.
Okay. And the other thing was, do we do any more of fill the cracks in with the tar on the streets that have cracks? May not necessarily need asphalting, but are quite cracked, which will turn out to be a pothole.
Yeah, if you recall, we replaced the crack sealing machine here about 2 years ago. So we do have a one that we use. We haven't done any yet this spring, just because we've been busy enough trying to fill the larger voids in the pavement. But something Shane and I actually talked about within the last 3 or 4 months, specific to even some of our surface lots, our parking facilities here at like City Hall, at the library, over there at Public Works, making sure that we try to take care of those lots at the very least.
That's all I have, sir.
Thank you very much, Councilman Venz.
Just to jump on what Kevin was saying, the Fast and the Furious on Horine Road, they love to come around that curve and do 0 to 90. That would be nice. I mean, Chief Lewis, believe me, I see you guys out there, but it's like anything else. As soon as they drive, that someone looks around the corner, they're gone. Let's go. I know you can't do much, unfortunately. You're never there at the right time, unfortunately, because somebody's look like there's a watch out. But we do appreciate what you can get, because it is what it is, and it's going to be that way, unfortunately. And believe me, it's hard for me to get out every day if I can get out there. But the trestle I talked to you about, Greg, you said they're hoping to redo that trestle or doing the prep work and all that?
Most of the utility work, you're talking about the trestle there at Horine and Hillsborough. Yeah.
Cromwell.
Yeah. Most of the utility work has been completed there. I've been talking with the regional government liaison with BNSF. He can't give me a start date. I was kind of wondering. That's kind of where we're at on that. And I touch base with him about every other week, because I know that's a very important project to the mayor as well. Getting that, at least, we can't raise it, but they're certainly going to be able to take the center post out of it and upgrade it all to concrete. But so we've seen the plans. We know what it's going to look like. It's just when they're going to do the work.
But I know for a lot of years since me and Kevin have been on this thing, there's been talk, if they ever did redo the bridge, are we going to do infrastructure underneath it, like redesign it to where the water won't be a flood under there? Like, are we going to tie it in with Cromwell, all that stuff to, because if the redesign, I know, like I said, we can't raise it. We all know that. But the water, when we get these hard rains, I thought there are different ones we talked about trying to reroute the water or do something.
If you'd like to stop by, I have. I do have some mock-ups of the utility relocations. Obviously, there is sewer and stormwater in that area as well that we've worked with BNSF to allow us to come in.
Is it going to change? Is it going to change part of Fifth Street and Cromwell, I guess?
No, the road surface, I mean, the direction of the traffic and everything will remain the same.
Okay, because I didn't know if.
But if you'd like to come by and take a look, I'd be happy
I
to
do
show
need
you.
to, yeah, because people have been asking me about it. Plus, I was curious too. But yeah, I get a lot of talk about that, and I just keep telling them it's something that's going to happen. But like you said, I figured when the mayor get word, you would let us know. But I mean,
They'll show up and it'll just start happening.
Oh yeah, we know
That's
that.
how they replaced the previous trestle. So.
Yes, I know. It's like you could say next month and it'll be next year. I mean, it's when they're ready, they do it when at their will, and that's just the way the railroad works. And but no, like I said, I appreciate Chief Lewis trying to do what you can on. But not only that, but did you say we had 2 signs, Greg, or 1?
We have 2.
But we only use 1 right now.
We put 1 up again, since we hadn't received any traffic calming requests from residents or subdivisions.
Could we put 1 on?
We can put 1 out on it. I've written down here, I've got Horine and Central. So we can certainly get 1 deployed on one of those 2 streets in the coming weeks.
All right. Yeah, like I said, whether it does any good, people will probably look at it, just see how fast they go. Who knows? But it is what it is on it. I mean, believe me, it's drag strip. So that's it, sir.
Thank you very much, Councilman Weiner.
Well, I'm kind of like a broken record here with Bobby and Kevin tonight with the radar digital sign that we have. So I think that thing's doing an excellent job over there on Sunshine. I'm over there in that area quite frequently, and I've never seen as many brake lights as I've seen. So it not only slows the first car down, but it also slows the second and third cars down behind it also. And so I think it's a great place to have in that school area over there. You know, you've mentioned Central and a couple other roads also, but going down to the parks, I think what we might need to look at is, you know, what's the cost of our police when they're running radar patrols as compared to the price of a one of these digital signs that are going to slow people down. And if they if these are smart signs, as I believe they are, we can see if people are aggressively speeding or not aggressively speeding by reviewing the software in these things. So I think it's something that, you know, it might be worth looking into. You know, my particular deal is going down into the parks because, say, you know, I'm running along that side road there or the side path. And I mean, people are going down at a high rate of speed, and you run traffic down there all the time. So I like to see one there. So if we have two, you know, I'd like to see us have 4 or 5, whatever that may be, and see what's going on. I think it would be it'd be a good addition to the city. I don't want the city to be just an outstanding radar sign, but I think that's something worth looking into. The Parks Department, I think we do have to do something with that. We're under, we don't have enough to go around right now. So we all know that's something that has to be done also. So I look forward to hopefully some additional manpower in the future with that. And then finally, Matt Unrein, I saw in his letter where he attended the Great Streets program today. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes up with that. And hopefully that will be another part of the upgrade for our city. And that's all I have, sir.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Templeton. All righty, thank you. Councilman Underwood. Thank you, sir. Councilman Boyer.
Chief, do we have any grants for patrolmen out there, you know, setting someplace and writing out, you know, tickets on speeders and stuff? We got grants on that now? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we get H&Bs, as soon as there's highway safety, we put in those every, matter of fact, we have to use some next year. Yeah, we get those, we pay off.
Right.
We do nothing but, it's called H&B grant, hazardous cruising violations.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's what, I'm familiar with the grants.
The only people that aren't speeding, the ones who get tickets.
Yeah.
Everybody else doesn't get tickets.
Okay.
You are, like you said, we're trying to highway. Every bit of 20+ miles an hour, 25.
Hey, Greg, what did Chief say? I couldn't hear him.
There's the HMV grants that are available. In fact, they have a meeting coming up where they'll be looking at that.
Yeah. So I'm sure with the COVID, we haven't been writing as many tickets. So
We only held off on COVID till about.
oh, I just noticed we only wrote 37 tickets in like a 17-day period.
We've been writing much more than what we were.
He said they've picked up the pace here recently for sure.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Tim.
Greg, the other thing I've got, Matt's been real good about, you know, if we get a hold of him, let him know about the potholes, stuff like that. He's been real good about that. We've got, you know, people coming into town to do shopping down on Main Street and whatever. And I'd like to see, if at all possible, Main Street get focused on as soon as possible, maybe to get some of them spots on Main Street fixed. If you notice some of the manholes, there's concrete missing around them, sections of concrete. And I guess if there's a base there, you know, you could probably pour some concrete in some of those and put a cone there or something. But up and down Main Street, I'd like to see if that would be focused on to maybe get it lined out right away. So, people coming into town have a little better concept of Festus is trying to take care of their streets. That's about all I've got, Mr. Mayor.
All righty. I don't have anything for this evening other than the fact that I know all of our employees are working hard to keep the city going, keep the city looking good, keep our parks looking good. So I congratulate them and keep up the good work. Having said that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion's been made.
Second.
And seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing